The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to City of Doral Council meeting for Wednesday, the year March 9th, the year of our Lord 2022. It is 10:05 a.m. Madam Clerk, please go ahead and call a roll.
Councilman Oscar Puig Corvée.
Present.
Councilwoman Claudia Mariaca.
Present.
Councilman Pete Cabrera.
Present.
Vice Mayor Dina Cabral.
Present.
Mayor Juan Carlos Bermudez.
Present.
Mayor have quorum.
All please rise, face the flag, and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Vice Mayor Cabral, if you could lead us in the invocation.
If you can all please bow your heads. Loving Fatherly, Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we gather together. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you will clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work and benefit our residents and community. Amen.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we now have the next item, agenda order of business. Is there anything on the agenda order of business?
No, sir.
The attorney, Mr. Manager, Madam Clerk,
No, sir.
we welcome back the manager and the city attorney up to the dais. We no longer will be able to see their facial expressions as openly, which will be one of the negatives, but we'll have to put the camera in that direction to make sure we can see those expressions. Welcome if you're here for the first time. Welcome back if you're here for the umpteenth time to our city council meeting. There's just a couple of rules that we need you to follow. Number one, we will have public comments at the beginning, and you may comment on any item that you choose to comment on. We will, obviously, when we have an ordinance, open that up to public comments. And so we ask that if you are going to go ahead and speak at that time, for an ordinance, wait till the ordinance comes up. 3 rules, very simple. Number one, there are 3 cards. One is white, which is a general public comment card. We would ask you to fill that out. If you're in favor of a particular item, fill out the blue one. If you're opposed, you can fill out the yellow card. Number 2, you'll be able to come up and speak. Just give your name and address for the record. There is a 3-minute limit during the public comment portion. We ask you to wrap it up at the 3-minute mark, like the NCAA March Madness, which is about to start. There will be a buzzer that will go off, and it will not be my phone, which we will turn off. And that buzzer will go off, and I would ask you to wrap up at that point your points of views. Number 3, you can criticize anyone that you want up here. You can criticize me. You can criticize my fellow council members. You can criticize the administration. You can, if you so choose, criticize your significant other, whether it's a husband, your wife, a friend, even your kids, if you so choose. However, you must do it respectfully, because if you do not, there's a gentleman in that corner over there. He's a little bit out of sight right now in dark blue, and he will tap you on the shoulder and ask you to step outside. That's never happened, but that's what makes democracy work. So having said that, I'd like to welcome here, and she's probably going to speak a little bit later, a Sweetwater Commissioner Idania Llano, who's a fellow elected official to our chambers. I don't know if it's the first time she's been here, but welcome, Commissioner. Good to have you here. So those are the rules, and we will begin with our general public comment portion. Anybody who would like to speak, come on up to speak on any general comment. Give us your opinion in a short, succinct, and concise manner within a 3-minute time period. Okay, no Jeopardy music, but 3 turns of the gavel. Let the record reflect no one has chosen to speak today. So, Madam Clerk, let's go ahead and with the next item.
The next item is the consent agenda. It will be all of the items on section 6.
Okay, if everybody's had a chance to review the consent agenda, the chair would entertain.
Second.
Is the motion approved by Councilman Mariaca, seconded by Councilwoman Cabral? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Okay, let the record reflect it's unanimous. Madam Clerk, next item.
Next item, item 7, approval of minutes, items 7A through D.
Okay, if everyone has had the opportunity to review the minutes, the chair would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Councilman Corvey, seconded by Councilwoman, Vice Mayor Cabral. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Let the record reflect it's unanimous. Madam Clerk, next item.
We're now going into presentations. Item 8A, presentation from the Civil Air Patrol Doral Cadet Squadron.
Okay, we have special guest today, something new and exciting that's coming to the city. So come on up. I don't know which one of you is going to take the lead, but come on up and come up here to the. Yeah. Thank you.
Lieutenant? Colonel? Sir? Thank you. Well, good morning, Mayor, City Mayor, Council members, City Manager, the City Attorney. Thank you for having us here this morning, presenting our organization with the Civil Air Patrol, United States Air Force Auxiliary. I believe we have a small tape that we would like to play, please.
Yes, if IT can cue the video, please.
Civil Air Patrol is a civilian auxiliary of the U.S. Air Force that you might not know about. You don't need to be a pilot or have military experience to join. It's a volunteer auxiliary. You do need to be interested in community service, mentoring, and bringing out the best in others.
Civil Air Patrol, or CAP, was founded in 1941, just 1 week before the attack on Pearl Harbor that launched the United States into World War II. It was originally formed to train pilots and patrol the coastline looking for enemy submarines. Today, CAP has many new missions, including search and rescue, emergency services, humanitarian relief, youth development, and aerospace education for K through 12. And behind these important initiatives and life-saving missions, military veterans and dedicated community members who volunteer their time, expertise, and passion for giving back. Meet Brigadier General Edward Felkup. He helps lead the task force of more than 50,000 CAP volunteers.
CAP is a congressionally chartered nonprofit corporation that operates in all 50 states, plus Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. Civil Air Patrol members are proud to wear the uniform of the United States Air Force as the official auxiliary of the Air Force. It's a way for our members to be connected with service to our country. I joined Civil Air Patrol when I was 14. I was really interested in serving in the military, and it turned out that Civil Air Patrol service ended up being the way I served my country. But we have a lot of former members of the military who continue their service to the nation in Civil Air Patrol. CAP has over 25,000 cadets across the country, ranging in age from 12 to 20 years old, and they're exploring careers in both military-related as well as civilian-related career fields.
Meet Cadet Major Valeria Pacheco Lugo, a CAP cadet from the Puerto Rico wing.
We get to learn about different STEM career opportunities, and we also get to participate of emergency services activities. So it's really awesome. It's really unique in a way, especially because of the people in the Civil Air Patrol. Senior members and cadets is a very good environment and a very diverse environment. The Civil Air Patrol has helped me grow my character and leadership skills, especially because I was a very shy person when I entered the Civil Air Patrol, and being in a different environment enabled me to grow as a leader and as a young person. My parents joined the Civil Air Patrol because I actually convinced them to. They saw me wearing the uniform, and I think they were very proud to see me serving my community voluntarily.
Meet Colonel Andrea Van Buren, CAP's first female region commander in the Southeast. She's responsible for commanding 6 of CAP's 52 wings, including Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands.
The Civil Air Patrol is an incredibly diverse program, especially for females and minorities. And the Cadet Wings program in particular, which takes young people and helps them achieve their private pilot's licenses, that average is even more within the program than it is in general aviation. The Cadet Wings program has about 27% of our cadet students are female, whereas general aviation female pilots only account for about 7% worldwide. I originally joined Civil Air Patrol as an adult about 21 years ago. And what drew me to the program was actually the flying. As a pilot, I was interested in the very unique flying missions that we do.
Civil Air Patrol, our Air Force auxiliary, is looking for more volunteer pilots, educators, and leaders to serve America's communities on the ground and in the air, save lives, and shape tomorrow's leader, today's youth.
Our members come from all walks of life. We have doctors, nurses, administrative professionals, finance experts. Chances are we have a job for you in the Civil Air Patrol.
As you can see, what our organization will be able to do for the youth of this community. And we are here, and our commitment is to make the youth of this community to be a future leaders. We, as you can see, we can teach aerospace education, emergency service, search and rescue, orientation flights, and our core of value, which is integrity, volunteer services, excellency, and respect. That's our commitment to you, and I'm asking for your support so we can have a place to meet and train the youth of the city of Doral. And as a commander, because I'm let me say my name, I'm Lieutenant Yanni, I'm the commander of Doral Cadet Squadron, and I can promise you that I will make Doral Cadet Squadron to be #1 in the whole state of Florida. And thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I know we have Ettore Sabatella here also, who is double duty as reporter / Civil Air.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Good morning. Okay. Maybe the Doral family in Doral, I'm sorry. Doral is very prudent this time. It's a big day for the squadron in the city. Maybe for the all residents in the city and the government center for the opportunity, they make it the futures events, okay, for the appreciation, the participate, okay, the orientation for the kids and the community in here, for the emergence and the education, okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Another is a very important, the Doral, okay, had the squadron, I had the airplane, okay, for all different scenarios, emergencies on the education, okay. In the Opaloc station, I had the parking for the airplane, for invited to all for the review and the check for the airplane for the Doral, okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ettore. I know we have someone else who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting.
Good morning, Mayor, Council members. I'm Trevor Stewart. I'm Public Affairs Officer for Group 7 of the Florida Wing, and Doral comes under us. I'm here to support this squadron, and I don't mind telling you that in the last 3 months when we started talking, these two folk have put together a team of about 8 persons that have started their training. They have gone through and completed a couple of the levels that we need of them. And I'm very impressed with the way that they have come together to do this. I've been in Civil Air Patrol for 28 years, and I have never seen the level of enthusiasm and motivation in adults like this in a team. They are ready to go, and they are really craving your support. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I guess, Mr. Manager, Mr. City Attorney, obviously we would just need consensus. I think the request would be to do some of the training probably at that police training facility. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir. They'd like to have their monthly meetings at the community center in the training center.
Once a week. Weekly.
Yeah, weekly.
Weekly. It's once a week. And,
Come on, Edina, say it up here so it's clear.
it's once a week for 2.5 hours from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. That's our training where we teach them, all the classes that they need to know, the drilling, the aerospace education, the safety. That's what we do.
Yeah, I would be supportive, obviously, of not only that facility, but if there's someday there's a conflict, we can always move it to one of the other city facilities. But I think it's a great thing for not only for our adults, but for our young kids also to add the Civil Air Patrol, especially to have a Doral designation to it. So do you need a vote, Mr. City Attorney, or we can do it by consensus?
You can do it by consensus, Mayor.
Any comments?
I just want to thank Ettore and for the initiative, because I know that this is a passion of his for many, many years, which I'm very surprised because besides the writing, it's there's this and there's pizza, which I'm looking forward to examine that aspect as well. But this is extremely important. I know we've had a conversation before about something that this is it's going to be offered also to the Explorers program, which has been growing over the years, and to our high school students and middle school students as well. And being so close to the airport here and having that as part of some of the teachings already happening in our schools with aviation, this I think is an amazing, amazing opportunity. So I want to thank each and every one of you, and you know, I look forward to, I know the first class already happened last week, and I apologize I wasn't able to stop by, but I'm looking forward to this community embracing and seeing that airplane fly over with. Now, Mr. Mayor, we're actually going to have a flyover that doesn't say, you know, I'm not going to say the airline names, but we'll have one that says City of Doral. So I'm very, very excited about that. I think you have another member that's about to step into the chambers. So, but thank you very much, and I reiterate the support.
Okay, thank you.
It's a great thing. Councilman?
Yeah, I was aware of Civil Air Patrol as far as its existence. I did not understand or even have a remote comprehension of the depth of everything you all do. I was fortunate enough to be able to attend your meeting last week, and I was extremely impressed, not only just for the career opportunities and for the ability for, you know, adults to give back, but for what it does to the kids. I mean, the character and we're living in a very complicated world, and to have an organization such as yours building character the way you do, to me, was impressive. I mean, extremely impressive. And from my point of view, you have my full support on anything you need. And the way I look at it, you're really almost an extension of the city. I mean, you're part of a federal organization that, in many respects, is really, you're bringing something to us that it's saving us the time and the energy to have to create, like we do with a lot of other programs that we have. So you have my full support on anything you all need, you know, obviously within the realm of what's possible for us and with support, but I couldn't have been more impressed with what you guys are doing. And so thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your service, and thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
Well, having consensus to speak by itself that we all support of this great program for our youth and for our adults. So I was telling Ettore, you know, if I would have grown up here, that would be one of the ones that I would have go. So see you soon. And I can testify about the pizza. It's great. Yes. might be, maybe.
I'm also very supportive, and thank you for taking the initiative to
Somebody's got a phone
to
that keeps
start
ringing.
to start this program in our city, and for choosing our city, of course, to do this. I think this is great, especially for our children in schools and the initiatives that are going to be taking part of. So thank you so much again.
All right, I think we have consensus. Let the record reflect that we have unanimous consent, and so you've got hopefully we'll get the ball rolling, and now you've got a place to meet. And by the way, Mr. Sabatella was a former bodybuilder when younger in Venezuela. Very few people know that. So,
I've seen the pictures too.
but there are pictures to that effect. But no, I didn't know he had the ability. He was this involved. But obviously, Commissioner Yaño, thank you so much. Thank you for the rest of the team being here and the support. And we look forward to adding, actually being partners with you in the community of Doral.
Thank you. Thank you for your support. And believe me, you're going to see the improvement of these cadets is going to have, our future cadets. Remember, we are training kids from 12 to 18 years old, and then they can keep on as a 21, correct, as a cadet, and they can become senior members. It's up to them. But believe it or not, they become leaders. I mean, I think that we are running out on the stage that they need more than ever.
Yeah.
And I thank you again for all your support.
One
and,
last thing, I want to thank our police officers that have joined you all as senior members. So I want to thank, there's several
we
that
have
joined.
a few. They're really committed to it. They
I
have
want
been.
to thank them for their continued service.
Lieutenant Colonel can tell you they have been hitting the books. Thank you so much again.
news.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Next
That's a good
item,
addition. Next item.
item 8B, Keep Doral Beautiful Business Award.
Okay, and who is going to be doing the presentation, Edgar, today?
Good morning, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council, Mr. Manager, Mr. City Attorney, Madam Clerk, Edgar Estrada, Co-Compliance Director. This month, we are pleased to recognize Ocean Automotive Group for their outstanding commitment to keeping Doral beautiful. The property for which they're being recognized for is located at 9675 Northwest 12th Street. Ocean Automotive Group has been in Doral for 19 years, and the property is approximately 42,411 square feet. Ocean Automotive Group is a family-owned used luxury and exotic car dealership with over 30 years experience in the industry. Some of the recent improvements included are an addition of an entirely new building, a new parking garage, refacing the Mazda building, and landscaping of the entire property. It is with great pleasure that we name Ocean Automotive Group for the Keep Doral Beautiful Business Award for their continued efforts to keeping Doral beautiful. And Mr. Mayor and Council, we do have the CEO and President, Michael Garcia, here to accept the award with a few members of his team.
Michael, you want to come on up a second before we give you the official presentation, if you want to say anything?
Good morning. Well, first, thank you. It's truly an honor to receive this award because we take great pride in our business and being in the city of Doral, and more importantly, serving the community. And just a fun fact I think that we can all be proud of is that Mazda store here in the city of Doral is one of the top 5 selling stores in the entire country.
Wow.
And it's located here in Doral. And that's thanks to the support from you guys, the support from the community. And it's an exciting time to be in Doral with such a great group and such a great community. So looking forward to the continued growth. Thank you.
Well, Michael, thank you to you, your family, and the whole Ocean Mazda team. This program was started many, many years ago to make sure that our businesses are partners of our community, and exemplifies what we always want as a city, which is to be partners with the business community because it makes us a much better place. The premier place to live, work, play, and learn. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Next item, item C, Code Compliance Department recap presentation.
Good morning again, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council, Mr. Manager, Mr. Attorney, Madam Clerk, my fellow colleagues, members of the public, Edgar Estrada, Co-Compliance Director, here to present the summary of activities for the code compliance for the past year. If IT can pull up the presentation. Okay, perfect. So for the past year, our organizational structure has not changed. We're still a team of 9 code compliance officers, 2 field supervisors, special magistrate coordinator. What did change was a reclassification from a code compliance clerk to an administrative assistant 2, the assistant director, and then myself. Our mantra is we are the stewards of Doral, a resourceful team dedicated to service, honesty, resiliency, and professionalism. In the past year, we did have 2 new hires and 1 resignation. One of the new hires did come on board from the Parks Department, which is always an added welcome to our team. And the other hire was somebody from private industry. We continue to work 7 days a week. We're an almost 365-day-a-year operation, so we have coverage 7 days a week. And Monday through Friday, we still have coverage until 11 p.m., so that stayed the same. Couple of stats for you to look at. In the past year, the top 5 violations, I just wanted to give you a brief snapshot of the top violations that we've encountered. Prohibited signs was at number 1. The streets of Doral look as clean as they do and as uncluttered with signage because of all of the signs that our team proactively removes from the right-of-way, from the median. But prohibited signs also includes the removal of prohibited banners, A-frame signs, and anything else in our code, streamers, balloons, that can cause visual pollution. Number 2 in the top 5 list are certificate of use and business tax receipt violations with 538 cases. Work without permits is at number 3, followed by outside storage, and the top 5 is rounded out with junk and trash violations. I also provided a brief snapshot of some of the at-large numbers. For this past year, there were less inspections in 2021. 2020 was a year obviously marked by COVID. We responded to a lot more proactive inspections for COVID-related guidelines. People not wearing masks. We received a lot of complaints. So I would attribute that increase in 2020 to those types of inspections. However, when you look at cases that are opened this past year, there are more cases that were opened, more cases that came into compliance, more courtesy warnings and notice of violations that were issued with a less number of inspections. So that would indicate more quality inspections that were being performed. Service requests, also known as complaints. For the past year, we received a total of 744 service requests from various sources. Our average response time is currently at 3 hours and 3 minutes, which is actually, when you compare it to the prior year, it's 12 minutes faster. The prior year, in my last recap, we were at 3 hours and 15 minutes, and this year we're at 3 hours and 3 minutes. Just a breakdown of the source of where these complaints are actually coming from. There's a lot of interdepartmental collaboration. I have great colleagues from all departments in the city that constantly refer us violations out in the field. So the majority, well, the largest percentage of the complaints are from internal, where they refer us different tips. But from the public, the largest are emails and the rare letter that we get throughout the year, followed by telephone calls, 311s, and lastly, walk-ins. Now, the bottom table, I wanted to kind of show a breakdown of, as I'm sure you remember, July 1st, 2021, the Florida State Senate passed a bill regarding anonymous code compliance complaints, where it made it prohibited for code enforcement agencies all throughout Florida to respond to anonymous complaints. So that requires every complainant to leave their contact information, their name, their phone number, their address. So I wanted to show if there was an impact from this year in that time period, from July 1st to February 28th, that time period for the preceding 3 years. As you can see, in 2019, 2020, it was 470 within that time frame. 2020 to 2021, again, that was the year marked by COVID. We had a lot of complaints of masks, people not wearing masks, restaurants not abiding by COVID guidelines. It was 602, so that was a significant increase. And then this year, after the bill was passed, we're at 455. So there is a slight decrease. People are becoming aware that this law has been passed. So some people are probably not calling as much as they used to report complaints due to any potential implications, problems with neighbors. So it has impacted. So there is that result. Special magistrate information. Again, I provided a 3-year comparison. This year we're at 205 cases so far, heard at a special magistrate hearing. The prior year was 130, again, COVID. We did not have hearings for about 2 or 3, possibly 4 months. And then we also had virtual hearings. So that it was a reduced load of cases during that year. That's why there's 130. In the prior year, before COVID, we were at 297 cases. So we're slowly creeping back up. Just some lien information as well from our special magistrate cases. This past year, we added 23 liens to our system. However, 22 cases did comply and pay their fees that they needed to pay for existing liens. So there was that, only 1 lien was added. And for your information, it's not on there, but we currently have 46 active liens in the city at the moment, code enforcement liens. There were also 2 stipulation agreements that were made through the special magistrate this past year. Those 2 stipulation agreements, in fines, they ended up paying $27,500 between the 2 cases. And we also had 2 emergency hearings, one very recent regarding outdoor dining, and then earlier in the year, we had an emergency hearing due to a restaurant that was observed selling alcohol to minors, and that was done with the assistance with the police department, the Florida law enforcement, alcohol, beverage, and tobacco. And there was also a medical malpractice case that we heard at that time as well. Energov. So Energov has affected our department as well. I will come right out and say our process is not as complex as some of the other departments. There aren't as many working parts. So our programming of the modules, I want to give a quick little shout out to my SME in the department. He's done a great job with all things related to Energov. So our process hasn't really been delayed too much. It hasn't had too much of a negative impact. Our officers have been able to work pretty efficiently with the system that we have at the moment. I just wanted to highlight a couple of the main benefits that Energov has given us since it's been, we're approaching 1 year already. So our enforcement process is pretty much totally automated at this moment. Photos that we take through the application are automatically uploaded into the case. So there's no more of that getting the iPad, uploading the photos into the computer, transferring it into the case. Now everything is directly in through the app. We have mobile printers as well. So now it's no longer necessary to order paper to have handwritten forms. Now everything is automatically populated into digital forms that we're currently using. We have the courtesy warning, the notice of violation. More recently, we're incorporating the notice to appears. So signatures are automatically populating onto the forms. Property information is automatically populated. My officers no longer have to spend time writing property information, addresses. It all appears right on the forms, and they're printed on those mobile printers, and we're able to provide that to the respondents right then and there. Our lien search process is also fully automated. That's been one of the more positive successes that we've had with Energov. I've actually met with a few companies within the past couple of months that offer lien search services, and they've told me flat out that our lien search process is ahead of the curve in comparison to other municipalities. It's completely automated, and I'll go through that process shortly. Our automated extension requests are also completely online. respondents are able to submit those extension requests through their CSS account, and everything is received automatically via email and into the system. Online payments are also all available online through their CSS accounts. So I have some photos here. I'll jump back to that other page. But you'll see here that little briefcase looking thing on the top right, that's the mobile printer. It's slightly larger than the iPad that they use in the field. And the hand model over there, she's signing right on the iPad. So respondents are able to sign right on the iPad. Their signature comes out in the mobile printer, and they go along with their day. Bottom left photo is our officer printing out the form, and the bottom right is our officer providing excellent customer service, educating the respondent on how to comply with the violation and giving her the form. Back to the lien search, I just wanted to briefly give you an overview of how the lien search process looks and how it works. This is the public-facing portal, the CSS account that the resident or the title company can use. They follow the steps, review, submit their request, and they pay right then and there. We get a notification on our end with the lien search. The form, this is the form that is automatically populated with the property information, the address, folio number. My signature automatically comes out there. Now, when EnerGov was first implemented, this lien search function was one that I knew we needed to get rocking and rolling as soon as possible, just because we do get so many requests. It didn't start off great. It was a manual process right in the beginning until we got all the kinks worked out. But we've gotten it to the point, again, with the assistance of IT and my SME, to get it working to the point where it's at right now. And just so I can let you know, okay. So the PDF is populated, the one that you just saw. It's an easy automated function. We drag it right then and there. You see there it says available online. That makes that form available to the public. And in the public, that's what they see. An attachment right on their account. They're able to download the form, and they have it, they're automatically emailed that the search has been completed, and they have it available in their account right then and there. Now, just to give you a quick number, in the past year, we've actually done successfully completed 3,259 lien searches, which accounts to $277,000 of revenue for the city. Body-worn cameras, this is one of the, in recent memory, one of the biggest differences to our department, thanks to our city manager, who comes from the police background. He thought it would be a good idea to incorporate body-worn cameras for our duties. So Mayor and Council, you passed a resolution in October 2021 to purchase 11 body-worn cameras for our officers and field supervisors. Like anything new, this is a big change. It was met with mixed reviews in my staff. I'm not even gonna lie about that. Obviously, there were some positive expectations, and other people, they don't like change. But I think that the implementation of body-worn cameras is nothing but positive. It protects our officers. It gives them more accountability. Everything is transparent. Believe it or not, some folks complain about code enforcement. I can't believe it, but they do. They do. Some people, and sometimes it's warranted. I'm not gonna lie, but many times it's a he said, she said argument. The body-worn cameras takes all of that doubt out. So it's already been used. We've already reviewed some of the videos, and it's interesting. It's a great training tool. It's something that I push customer service hard, and this gives us quality insight into how our officers actually conduct their business with the residents. So it's a great training tool. We've been working very closely with Doral PD, with the body-worn camera administrator. He's been great. He's helped us develop a policy and procedure, one that's very to the point and easy to understand. All of my staff has been trained on how to use the body-worn cameras, as have I, as has my assistant director. So that department policy is already in place. Myself, assistant director, and the 2 field supervisors, we've also been trained on how to properly audit the body cam footage using the same software that the Doral Police Department uses to audit their footage. So we're already doing that. Just for your general knowledge, these body-worn cameras are operational whenever there's the possibility of public contact. So we always want to capture every potential contact with the public when we're using these cameras. And we started using them in February, beginning of February. So thank you for that recommendation, Mr. Manager. Appreciate it. Just some couple of highlights, accomplishments for our department during this past year. We started working much closer with the building department and with Public Works, specifically flood and the stormwater manager, in coming up with a more effective plan on when we are going to get involved in issuing citations and violations for stormwater violations at construction sites. Now, they've been all over us as far as internally. Building, Public Works, they all do a good job at giving us referrals, but they are on top of us to make sure that we're consistently inspecting stormwater drainage violations. So that's been a very useful plan that we've implemented. We're also working with the Doral Police Department in addressing their delinquent false alarm accounts. So now there's a more formal process that we have with police. And just quick numbers, 55 total cases on different properties have been opened for false alarms. 47 have already reached compliance. There's still 8 currently open. We have taken a few to special magistrate for those that haven't paid police, and we're getting constant referrals. So there's every couple of weeks, we're getting a new batch of properties with delinquent false alarms. Also, in conjunction with the police department, we've been doing this for about a year already as well, habitual noise complaints. It's incredible for me, it's eye-opening how many noise complaints the police department responds to after 11 p.m. It's wild. But the purpose of our involvement, we have a system in place where we see their reports and we follow up on those habitual noise complaints. And it's gonna happen, noise, people are always gonna have a party, they're gonna be too loud. But the purpose of our involvement is to follow up and hopefully curb some of that repeated behavior. And just to also show a little bit of insight into how much of an impact this has had, we've issued, since the year of implementing this program, we've issued 233 violations for noise after 11 p.m. In the same time period, the year prior, we had 45 noise violations. So definitely working closer with the police department is gonna be an added benefit. We've continued the Mayor's Citizen Government Academy. This past year, it was 2 sessions, both virtual. Temporary outdoor dining detail, where we were tasked with conducting proactive inspections at restaurants that had temporary outdoor dining approvals. So we did conduct 2 different outreach details, reminding these restaurants of the expiration date of December 31st. All in all, it was a very successful detail in my opinion. 53 restaurants had complied by December 31st, 6 ended up going to magistrate, but at that magistrate date, 5 were already in compliance and only 1 remaining violation. So to me, that's a very successful detail. We continued, like I referenced earlier, we had a detail with 2 details with Doral PD and Florida Law Enforcement ABT Division to address underage alcohol selling at various restaurants. 2 of those locations were closed down briefly. They were given hefty fines, and all of their employees at those restaurants had to undergo responsible vending training as well. Just some ordinances that we've been involved in within the past 2 years, where we provided feedback going back and forth with the city attorney and the different departments, the comprehensive parking ordinance and the food truck ordinance. Some trainings and certifications that we've accomplished this past year. The MPDES is our stormwater certification. We had 3 employees successfully obtain that this past year. Our 2 supervisors underwent supervisor in government training. And we had a lot of promotions as far as level 1 and level 3. 5 of my officers obtained their level 1 certification through the Florida Association of Code Enforcement, and 2 of my officers obtained their level 3. We also updated our department policies and procedures, and as I referenced with the body-worn cameras, we are now doing monthly audits for that footage, and as well we're performing GPS audits as well. We want to make sure that our people are out there doing everything that they need to do, doing their job, doing it well. So all those audits are done to provide greater accountability and transparency. In addition to that, our staff is still partaking in KAPOW, which is Kids in the Power of Work. We've been doing that since, I think, 2012. I actually have one of my officers at a local school today, finishing up one of his sessions today. And we're still, when they come up, addressing short-term rental violations, multifamily violation, home-based businesses, and assisting the Parks and Recreation Department whenever there's unlicensed personal trainers. And what's in store for the rest of the year? So there's, as you know, there's two ordinances that are coming up for second reading that are going to directly impact my department. One of them is the alcohol ordinance, which was an extensive and comprehensive amendment, as well as the home-based business amendment so that it can coincide with state law. Now, something that we're going to directly be impacted by is the outreach that's going to be comprised of the passing of those ordinances. So it's great timing, actually, just to give everyone some information. We're going to have even more coverage in the evening coming up in the next couple of weeks. I'm currently working with the city manager's office and with HR, but we are going to have multiple days a week. We're going to have an officer into the late hours, possibly 3 a.m., 4 a.m. We're still working out those finer details, but we are going to have additional presence to assist even more so with noise and the police department, and to address restaurants or any other businesses that operate after 11 p.m. that are operating outside the scope of their business tax receipts. So with the implementation of the body-worn cameras, definitely I want to put a bigger focus on customer service training for my field personnel and to participate in de-escalation trainings as well. We need more guidance than ever now, especially with the body-worn cameras. And coincidentally, HR has actually provided a date, a very near date for our officers to partake in the training, so it's already getting started. We're going to update our fee schedule. One thing that kind of opened up my eyes in meeting with the lien search companies is that we charge a very modest rate for the lien search companies, and our turnaround time is max 72 hours. But I did forget to mention this, our lien search process takes, and I've done hundreds at this point already with the new system, takes 60 seconds. So we can knock out one lien search in 60 seconds. So our lien search turnaround time is, can well be well within 24 hours. We put a 72-hour cushion just to, in case anything else comes up, but we can knock those out in one day. So definitely, I think charging a little bit more to cover the technology costs would be an added benefit as well. There's other cities and counties that are charging $250 per lien search, and it takes at least 10 days to turn that around. Definitely focusing on ordinances with a more quality of life focus, amending some of the existing ones. Our Mayor Citizens Government Academy is going to return in the spring, and I've already gotten the green light. You heard it here first. It's in person. So what does that mean? That means people aren't persuaded by free food or anything, but that means free dinner for each session from a local restaurant. So we'll be promoting that very soon as well. And now that COVID-19 regulations are getting relaxed more and more in the state, I would like to have my outreach division out in the community more, and attending HOA meetings, the in-person HOA meetings, just to get our message across. help out any communities with any unique problems that they're facing in their community. So definitely a return to that, and more presence on social media as well. And there's just our mantra, once again, we're the stewards of Doral, resourceful team dedicated to service, honesty, resilience, and professionalism. If you go down to the second floor, that's posted on our wall. So we're constantly reminded that that's what we live by in our department. But before I conclude, just want to thank Mayor and Council, City Manager's Office, Mr. Attorney, all my colleagues that assist us. I think we work very well together. And last but not least, I want to thank my team. They're a great team of hardworking professionals. They take their job serious. They like what they do. So I'm just glad that I can be here to support them. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any questions? Okay, go ahead, Councilwoman.
First of all, thank you. That was extremely informative, which just congratulations, because it's not easy what you guys have to do. So I appreciate that. I have a question about the home-based businesses. And I know that we've discussed this a couple of times, and we were going back and forth and trying to get all our ducks in a row to get the information from the state and the county. Is there a difference, or have we determined any difference between a home office and a home business? Because I know that one of the issues that we were having was that now the requirement is that you need to get authorization from DERM. And you can imagine the number of people that now might have an extra home office where they have a desk, a computer, or a printer that might have been there anyway, but they're registered for tax purposes, a business. Now they have to go through DERM. Now we all know that DERM is already an issue, period, and they can barely handle what they have on their plate right now with the larger projects. Now all of a sudden we're going to be throwing in these thousands, I'm not even going to say hundreds, thousands of registered businesses to them. So have we determined if there's any difference between them, and what are we going to do?
It's a complicated question with a complicated answer, because what we've typically done in the past is we try to take it at face value to see if there is a signs of a business actually taking place, and not just a business that has the property registered at that address. Because you're right, there should be a distinction. If I recall correctly, in the first reading for the home-based business ordinance, it does state that any address that is registered to a property will require a home-based business. So if I take it at face value, then there would be no distinction. If you have a property that is registered, if you have a business that's registered to a property in a residential area, then you would be required to obtain a business tax receipt.
And have we gone to the county with that same question? Are they going to be doing the same with all their?
I personally
I'm going to sit back and watch and see what happens, because I think it's hilarious that they're going to expect every single person that has an office, a chair, and a desk now go, and I just want to see the DERM office, how they're going to handle all this. So, and what's going to happen is people are just not going to do it, or they're just going to go through it another way, because nobody's going to go and register and wait, weeks or months to get something where they're going to be doing it anyway. So I understand the perfect distinction between an actual business, and we've been doing it here in the city forever. We didn't need the state to tell us what to do, but to all of a sudden now go through this. So I have some meetings also scheduled with the county regarding this issue, but I just wanted to kind of leave it on the record, because our hands are kind of tied because of what the state did. But I think that there might be a way to function a little bit better, because this is honestly, it's completely and utterly ridiculous. But I want to thank you and your team for doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Also, thank you. And obviously, you've taken on a lot of new responsibilities this year and exciting stuff. And I want to thank you also for working, and also in this case, thanking the manager for the eGov. Last year, we all know what we went through, and to see that you've made tremendous progress at this stage of the game, it's good news, very, very good news. And also want to thank the manager for his leadership on the issue of the cameras. I remember when he mentioned it, and I thought it'd be a great idea to help. Like you're saying, I'm sure it's kind of mixed feelings, but at the end, I think it's a useful tool for you, especially as the director, like you say, to train and to see. It's he said, she said, but at the same time, sometimes our officers could be guided. At the end of the day, I'm concerned about how we act. The public, like I always say, in my private business, they're the client, and my clients are never wrong. I mean, I don't give them the right. I'm not going to take legal responsibility for anything, but they're always treated with respect, no matter what. And that's the attitude I've always said. As a city, everybody that represents the city has to have that kind of attitude. Every single person we interact with is our client, and like my client has the ability to fire me if I don't do the level of work he expects from me and the way I treat him. Our employees, every single employee has to have that same mentality, that same attitude. That person they're dealing with, if they had the power to fire them, how would they treat them? Or if it was family member. I don't like to talk about family. Sometimes people don't like their family members. So, but everybody respects their job and their paycheck. So I think the cameras could be very useful for that. So thank you very much. Thank you, manager, also.
And also just a point of clarification, the HR training that they have set up with us, that PD is going to go ahead and train our staff, is centered on body-worn cameras. And the title is Courtesy and Professionalism, so it goes right in line with our customer service focus.
I have a couple of comments and a question. Well, first of all, thanks. Before we were a city, one of the greatest legacies we can leave is having a code compliance department, because before we were a city, there were 2 code compliance officers from the county line to Southwest 8th Street for the unincorporated areas of Miami-Dade County. So you can imagine what that was like. First a comment and then a question. The illegal home rentals, which continues to be a problem with, in some instances, people who get here from other countries and then will rent a space and then rent the space within the space. I mean, every time I get one, I pass it on to you. I usually get it from one of those websites that advertises, through WhatsApp or whatever. But what are we doing with that? Because it continues to be an issue, and are the associations doing anything to work with us on this?
Now, we do get constant referrals from many people. There's a lot of very concerned residents that will email us pretty frequently, showing us Facebook ads at these different Residents of Doral pages. They'll send us those postings. Now, the investigation part of it is a part that's a little bit difficult. Sometimes it's just a name that they'll have. We actually do everything that we can. We cross-reference that on the property appraiser to try to find where the property is. If that person that posted it is an actual owner of a property in Doral. Sometimes there might be 3, just to say a name, Diego Sanchez's in Doral, 3 different people in 3 different communities. We'll actually go to all 3, try to compare the photos. So we do our due diligence, but a lot of times it's what we can actually prove. So when we do visit the properties, we'll let them know the reason that we're there. We'll go inside the property if they grant us access, and we'll try to find signs of multifamily violations. If there's 3 inflatable mattresses in a room, that's a good indicator. If every bedroom has a key and lock in it, that's another good evidence of it. So we definitely rely on the public a lot for these, for those types of violations. Property managers do also reach out to us consistently, and they provide us leads, but a lot of times it just relies on, it depends on what we can prove during our inspection.
All right, because that continues to be a problem. The second one, obviously, and this is from a recent example, do we check these BTRs every year? Because when you have a whole building where nobody's got a BTR, that tends to be, how does that happen?
So that one, I know which property you're talking about, and that was as much of a surprise to me that I'm sure it was to you. We do routinely check. So what we had in the past was one officer that's assigned solely to certificate of use and business tax receipt inspections. Now, I've come to the conclusion that one person is not enough. So by the time that they make their way through 2 sections of the city, 4 months have already passed. When they finish the city, it'll take 2 years. So by the time they go back and start over, there might be hundreds of new businesses that they haven't checked that may have moved in a year before. So because of this recent example, I've already met with my team in order to minimize that type of situation to happen, because it shouldn't happen. It's a rarity, and it's not it's the exception rather than the rule. I've already met with my team directly and told them to refocus our priorities moving forward for them, for all the officers, to every single day do license checks in as many properties as possible. Obviously, they still have to report to complaints, their re-inspections, work with our permits, anything that they proactively come across. But definitely, we're starting to reshift our focus to addressing licensing violations in buildings. And it's hard to see the ones that are in office buildings because they're not like storefronts that will have a new sign and you can tell from one day to the next that it's a new business. But the offices are the ones that we really have to focus on. So in the recent example, we are addressing it. I hate to say better late than never because it shouldn't happen, but I recognize it, and we're already making a move to minimize that type of situation in the future.
Okay. And then I guess the last thing involves the attorney also, which is the habitual offenders that basically, despite being given an opportunity like we did 2 years ago to correct their outstanding liens at a very minuscule amount, but continue to flaunt in the face of the city their disregard for rules. Are these liens being protected legally? So when these properties are either sold, well, really what's going to have to be when they're sold, that they're going to have to go ahead and pony up and pay us what they owe us?
All the liens are recorded, and at closing, we collect. So yes, sir.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because we went out of our way to try to help these individuals and do things and give them a break, and
Mayor, we
continuously
the code compliance proactively negotiates liens in order to get payments, and when we essentially have implemented a program to do that collection. But a property owner, if he's not inclined to negotiate a reduction in exchange for getting rid of the lien, then it is recorded, and it is already recorded. And at closing, that becomes we have had situations at closing where closing's been held up until the city's been paid.
Okay. All right. I just think that, it's one of the things that bothers me the most, to have individuals who,
I have a question and a comment. Well, congratulations with all the things that you're not only adding to the department, but you've been able to accomplish. I know that, as you know, we get a lot of calls from businesses and residents about code compliance issues, and I know that you guys handle it very well, so congratulations on that. I do have a question on the automation of the lien search. As you know, that is a very delicate subject if the lien is not reported to the person requesting it. Have you tested the accuracy of the automation of the lien search?
We have.
Okay.
Now, most lien searches don't appear with any code violation. So liens come out if there is a lien, code violations, anything that's open, any running fines, open citations will come out on the property. Mm-hmm. So they do come out. Everything is migrated directly from Energov. So as long as it's linked correctly, which it should, everything should be linked correctly now, and especially any new cases moving forward, it pulls the information directly from Energov, so everything should be accurate in there.
Good, thank you.
Okay, there's nothing else, and thank you very much, Edgar, for you and your department and everything you do. And it's great to hear that we've progressed technologically also in that department.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Mayor's report.
Okay, I had an opportunity to participate in the United States Conference of Mayors Leadership Conference, which took place here, as the new president is Francis Suarez, the mayor of Miami. So a lot of the major issues that are taking place across the country were discussed. And one of them also has to do with a meeting yesterday, which the manager and I attended via Zoom, which is the federal dollars from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, where Mayor Levine Cava wants to make sure the municipalities work with the county. So I would tell our Public Works Department to, I don't know how else to put it, but, prepare and look for the projects that we need to try to use to improve our transportation and our infrastructure, and have it all prepared. So when those dollars do start coming from the county, from the federal government, we're ready. So instead of being behind the 8 ball. So that's what I would ask. And I think that the other thing is, I don't know, is Herbie here yet or not? Where is he? In the back? He's outside? Okay. We have the strategic planning, so I hope all of you take the opportunity to talk to him before we go into that meeting on Friday. Okay. That's it for me, Madam Clerk.
Council comments?
I have one. Today we approved in the consent agenda the resolution 224601 that November 7 of each year to be victims of communism, and we're supporting that bill that that Senator Ana Maria Rodriguez and Representative Borrero introduced to the state, and we want to thank them for doing so. I think it is important, especially for us in Florida or South Florida, where we've lived the effects of communism firsthand. So I just wanted to reiterate that we support that, that I support that, and that I want to thank them also, Mandy Diaz, for introducing SB 268, which is also related to the communism bills. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Yes, just two quick things. First of all, I just want to say that as, and I know the Vice Mayor stepped out for a second, but I'm proud to serve up here as we're celebrating Women's Day, International Women's Day yesterday and this month. And I just very proud of this city because I look around and we have directors, captains, elected officials, and it's really, it brings a lot of pride to see how women have made such an amazing difference and how hard we work for this city, and the men too. You guys are good.
We're still waiting for Men's Day. I get an email every year, and somebody
every
asks,
day is
"One of
Men's
these
Day."
years."
But it is, I just want to bring that to light, not just because of this particular month or this particular day, but because it's important to recognize each and every one of you guys, ladies out there. So I'm very, very proud to be a part of that. The other thing I just want to bring to attention, and since Councilman Puig mentioned that very important bill that we supported, is I want to remind everyone March 13th on Sunday, there's elections in Colombia. So just keep all those people in your thoughts and in your prayers. They have to make a very, very important decision going forward. And as many of us coming from different countries in South America, and we see what goes on in that entire region, I just want to bring to attention to all those Colombian residents that are here in our city in Florida, and the ones that are out down there that are going to take that vote, and that we're supportive of their democracy going forward. So just make sure that you keep them in mind and wish them a lot of luck, and hopefully democracy prevails down there. So that is all. Oh, and all the events that are happening, by the way, for Women's Month, tons of events, so take a look because there's a lot of going on within the city.
Correct. There are a lot of events, and certainly to all the women that make up the city of Doral, thank you very much for the great job you do. I have 4 women at home, so I have congratulate my daughters, my wife, and make sure yesterday that I reminded all of them how happy I am that they make me a much better person. But I do want to thank the women that make our city, and we do have probably one of the more diverse leadership groups of the cities in Miami-Dade County, and that's a good sign. So,
same for the women, and I have 3 sisters, 2 daughters, 2 grandchildren, 7 nieces, and 1 son, 1 grandchild. That's it. So
yeah, I forgot my sisters.
Women definitely rule in our home and our family. So congratulations to all the women and all the great things they bring to. Yeah. So definitely surrounded by women all my life. So, but definitely they're a big part of our lives, and it's one big family, truthfully. So thank you for everything you do, and men too.
Yeah. I do get an email every year, and I forget his name. I'm sure I'm going to get it today. who reminds me every year that we should do some sort of recognition of men. I told him that when we lead the national movement, somebody will do that. So I'll respond to him on behalf of all of you that we're looking into it. So,
City Manager's report.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Madam Clerk, City Attorney. Recap for this month, last month and the beginning of this month, the Parks and Recreations Department events had a great turnout. The Silver Club Valentine's Dance had over 57 participants. The Silver Club Bingo Night, 40 to 50 Silver Club members every time they have a bingo night. Movies at the Park, February 25th, over 800 attendees. Dr. Seuss Storytime, March 4th, over 200 attendees. And Miso at the Park, on March 5th, 600 attendees. On March 4th, the Doral Police Department Communications Unit and Real-Time Operations Center, which is considered the nucleus of the police department, was awarded the Wawa National Employee Appreciation Day of the Unsung Hero Award. The staff assigned to these units provide essential information and support to police officers when they respond to incidents competently and increased operational intelligence, and with the emphasis on the officers' citizen and community safety. They are considered a lifeline for the officers using the unsung hero who are truly dedicated and passionate about the job they do. As a reminder, the strategic planning session for fiscal year 22-23 will be held on Friday, March 11th, starting at 8 a.m. Mr. Herb Marlowe of Analytica will be meeting with the mayor and council today to identify topics of concerns, and Mr. Marlowe will also be meeting each department director to establish priorities that they will discuss on Friday's session. Other than that, I appreciate all your support for the entire city staff and our directors that have worked tirelessly to make us look good. Thank you.
I mean, just one thing I also want to make a distinction of. I think to congratulate General Richardson at Southern Command. I think she's the first female commander.
She is.
And so obviously it also just in the military shows strength in women. So congratulating her for that.
Yeah, she is the
title
first
responsibility.
Absolutely. It's your city attorney.
Morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, Mr. Manager, and City Clerk. Just one brief item that I wanted to update the council on. On March 3rd, the mayor, myself, and the planning director, along with the chief of staff, met with the South Florida Water Management District. The purpose of that meeting was to meet with them on site to discuss the city taking over the conservation easement, which would allow the city at that juncture to hopefully develop a park which would be eco-friendly, would educate schools, would create some type of platform viewing so that the natural wetlands and ecosystem can be something that can be enjoyed by all Doral citizens and other folks. The initial meeting, I think, went very well. I think the South Florida Water Management District was very receptive to the idea of the city taking it over. So our next steps is to prepare a pre-application, meet with the district, and have a pre-application meeting. And then hopefully at that juncture, we'd be in a position to bring the matter back to council for approval. And that concludes my report.
Madam Clerk.
City Clerk's report is attached on the agenda for your review. And just like you said, Mayor, just reminding everybody that strategic planning is this Friday.
All right, if there's nothing else, then we entertain a motion to adjourn till the evening session.
To adjourn.
Motion adjourned by Councilman Cabrera, seconded by Councilman Precorbi. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Okay, we'll see you back at 5 for the presentations and at 6 for the council meeting, right?
That's IT. The music's still playing.
Right.
Okay.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the City of Doral Council meeting evening session for Wednesday, March 9th, 2022. Madam Clerk, please go ahead and call the roll.
Councilman Oscar Puig Corvée.
Present.
Councilwoman Claudia Mariaca. Councilman Pete Cabrera.
Present.
Vice Mayor Digna Cabral.
Present.
Mayor Juan Carlos Bermudez.
Present.
Mayor, you have quorum.
Okay, if you could all please rise, face the flag, and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there anything on the agenda order of business, Madam Clerk?
No,
Mr.
sir.
Manager? Okay, if you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're here for the umpteenth time, welcome back to the City of Doral. Just a couple of issues that we'll discuss. You will be able to make public comments on any item you would like to speak to at the beginning. And subsequent to that, we have a couple of ordinances, and you'll also be able to speak to that particular item. You have three forms that you could fill: a white one, which is general comment; blue is if you're in favor; and yellow if you're opposed. Number two, there's a clock. There's 3 minutes there for those of you who follow basketball. The ACC tournament started today, and so has those who are seeking to get into the big dance, which is March Madness. And that clock, when it makes the buzzer sound, we're going to ask you to wrap up, just like it does at the end of a quarter or the end of a half in college basketball. At the end of the game, we're going to ask you to wrap up your comments. Number three, you can criticize me. You can criticize my fellow council members. You can criticize the administration. You can even criticize your significant other, but you must do it respectfully. If not, the gentleman in the back with a dark blue uniform will tap you on the shoulder and ask you to step outside. We've never had an issue, but that's what makes democracy work. So we ask you to please follow those rules. So, having said all that, we will now open it up to the general public comment portion. Anybody that would like to speak during the general public comment portion, please come on up. Give us your name and address, and give us your opinion in a short, succinct, and concise manner. Okay, we have turned the gavel 5 times, which means that no one has chosen to speak at this time. So the general comment portion of the public comments is closed. We will now go to the public hearings. Madam Clerk, let's go to the first item.
First item, first reading, item 19A, ordinance number 2022-08, investment policy for elected officials pension plan. An ordinance of the mayor of the City Council of the City of Doral, Florida, adopting an investment policy statement and asset allocation policy for the City of Doral's elected officials pension plan, providing for severability, providing for incorporation into the code, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, we're going to open it up to public comment at this time. Anybody who would like to speak to this item, proposed ordinance 22-4602, please come on up, state your name and address, or proposed ordinance 2022-08. Okay, the public comment portion is closed. Anybody?
Motion to approve.
It's a motion to approve by Councilman Puig Corvée. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Cabrera. Are there any questions, comments of staff from either from finance or from the manager or the city attorney? Questions, comments?
I just want to ask the city attorney if he can elaborate a little bit on the meaning of the pension plan, so there will be no confusion in the public, not knowing that this is a new thing.
Yeah, this is similar to all the other investments of the city. There has to be a specific policy place that directs how the city's assets and funds are invested. So what this ordinance does, it essentially adopts a policy, and we'll be bringing it every year to the city for approval. So like we do all the other policy plans. It's just simply a policy that directs what type of bonds, what types of securities the city can invest in.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions or comments or not? If there's no more comments, queries, or concerns, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2022-08 on first reading, made by Councilman Puig Corvée, seconded by Councilman Cabrera.
Yes.
Councilman Cabrera.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mariaca.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cabral.
Yes.
Mayor Bermudez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Item 19B, ordinance number 2022-09, fiscal year 21-22 budget amendment. An ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Doral, Florida, providing for an amendment increasing the general fund budget for fiscal year 21-22 and the park impact fee fund budget for fiscal year 21-22 as reviewed, modified, and approved by the city council at the meetings held on March 9, 2022, and second reading on April 13th, 2022, providing for transmittal by the city clerk, providing for implementation, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, the public comment portion is open for this item at this time. Proposed ordinance 2022-09. Is there anybody that would like to speak to this item at this time? Please come on up, state your name and address for the record. Give us your opinion in a short, succinct, and concise manner. Okay, the Jeopardy music is over in my head. At 5 turns of the gavel, we will close the public comment
Motion to
portion.
approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Councilman Corvée, seconded by Councilman Cabrera. Are there any questions of staff, either finance, Mr. City Attorney, or the manager at this time, or any comments that anybody on council would like to make at this time? If there are none, no more queries, concerns, or comments, Madam Clerk, go ahead and call a roll.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2022-09 on first reading, made by Councilman Puig Corvée, seconded by Councilman Cabrera. Councilman Puig Corvée?
Yes.
Councilman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mariaca?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cabral?
Yes.
Mayor Bermudez?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, Madam Clerk, I believe there's nothing else on the agenda at this
Nothing
time.
else.
At this point, the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
A motion to adjourn by Councilman Cabrera, seconded by Vice Mayor Cabral. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the evening. See you in a couple weeks.